Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And this time we're reviewing uh, another franchise, and which the first film was a hit and it spawned sequels. But the first film I've always enjoyed, and I would say it's a good sci-fi '90s classic. I would say, but the way it was for the type of science fiction horror film, I think it was like a little bit different than it did. And seeing well, growing up though, the one thing I definitely remember was the ending of this film, because I remember what the ending was like. Wondering how the film ended. Like, later on, like, oh well, what film was this? How that film ended? Until later on, I found the film Species. Because growing up, like I said, I only remember was the ending till later on years. I would say, oh, that's the movie that had that ending. But Species, I think it's a really good science fiction film and especially into horror as well. I think it's a well directed and a pretty good, I would say very good film. It's directed by Rodger Donaldson, which he directed a film 2 years later after this in '97, which I've already reviewed a short time ago. He will go on later and direct Dante's Peak, and he also directed Cocktail with Tom Cruise. This director didn't go on to do much. He directed some successful hits though, but I think the last film that I remember, he once again worked with Pierce Brosnan in that film, The November Man. I haven't seen that film, The November Man. I just had no interest in it. I think that was like the latest film that he's did. But Species, I really do enjoy, and not only for that, it has a really good cast. It stars Michael Madsen. From Kill Bill, but I'm also remember him from Free Willy. But Michael Madsen has been in lots of other films as well. Just but Michael Madsen. If you look at my, he's been in other films, but I can't think of anything else at the top of my head though. But I most remember from Free Willy. He was also in Kill Bill. Um, Ben Kingsley as what's his name, Finch. He's the guy who runs the whole show about creating Syl, which was Natasha Hendricks' name. Marg Helgenberger, which also in the film that I just reviewed with her in it was Steven Seagal, Fire Down Below. But the show will go on to appear in CSI, and I think she has a supporting role in Aaron Brockovich. I think I've said that before. Good actress. Alfred Molina, which more known in playing Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2. He's also starred in lots of other films as well. And he also, in one of his earlier roles, he had at the start of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was like, "I know, give me what's the statue, whatever." And then when he gets away, lead to leave Indiana Jones to die, where he finds where Indiana Jones catches up, he finds him impaled by spikes. But and I know recently in the show of DreamWorks' Dragons, he voiced Vigo. Dragon's Race to the Edge. He voiced Vigo as well. But Alfred Molina, he's another good actor. I like him. And then top it off with Forrest Whitaker, another great actor. I'll get into their character in a second, but he's another good additional cast, and also for mainly, it's the debut film for Natasha Henstridge, and Natasha Hendricks for the first time she was really good looking as well, and I think she was a model before starting this, and I guess it kind of shows, and but after of course she go on to do the sequel, being the sequels. Well, this number 2, and then it came appearance in number 3. And besides the speech films, she also stars in Maximum Risk with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and she was also in John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars with Ice Cube and Jason Statham. Which I like Ghost of Mars. I think it's not that bad as it is, but the film flopped though, which is probably another reason why John Carpenter retired for almost 10 years after that. So, but I like Ghost of Mars, and Natasha Hendricks, I liked her in that film as well. And but for the first film she did really good. And I enjoy the special effects, which are the well done practical effects by H.R. Giger, which famously knows to work on the effects on the Alien franchise. The well done practical effects are really well done. It's well directed by Rodger Donaldson, and the score I also liked as well by Christopher Young. I think it was also a good score as well, and it's a well paced film. It's like an hour and 48 minutes, but it goes at a very good pace. And for features, I know that there's a 2-disc collector's edition though, but I'll just sell for this though, even though it has more features though. But the whole story is there's this place called SETI, like SETI, and well, actually no, it's not a place. It's actually it's kind of like a thing. What thing was a satellite? I forget, but it gets like info, and they're like, supposed to like there's some other life out there behind Earth, and they get transmissions, and then whether least another there's supposed to like some DNA supposed to be like another life form. They mix it with human DNA, and Ben Kingsley is the guy. Finch, he's the one who is in charge of the whole program, and they see that Syl has been born, and who's been who's been rapidly growing and growing, and first like not probably like days. It's already been like she's like been like look like a 2-year-old or whatever, and then it's been like was it 3 months? She's already looking like a 12-year-old, and there's also the 12-year-old younger Syl is actually played by Michelle Williams, and which is like Michelle Williams would later be this. She was also in the '90s film Lassie, and then she would go be in Halloween H2O, and she was also starring in Brokeback Mountain, which I think by the time that met with Heath Ledger, I think they were married until his death. And I think also now recently she starred in that film with Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea. So she still got work. So I thought she would be one who like kind of disappeared later, but no, she still has. Clearly, she still starring Manchester by the Sea. She still has work. Yeah, but she's so nice that she was plays the younger version of Syl, and she has does these violent not seizures, but it's up to the point where Ben Kingsley doesn't want to take chances to endanger people, so they wants to kill her with the cyanide gas, but when the least know that she breaks out of her zone, and she runs away, escapes the facility, and she gets on board a train where there was this guy. I would probably say kind of like way like a bum, basically, but no, I don't think it's not a bum. There's a person on the train, and she throws him back, and the way he gets hurled back is just like he gets like messed up on the way he gets thrown. It's just like in a weird looking way, but kind of bloody because just gets throws her, and also he just gets like this and all whatever position he was in. It was messed up though. Shows that she has strength. And while it's when Ben Kingsley assembles this team together, Alfred Molina, who is he's a scientist, the same, which is the anthropologist. That's how the name is. And Michael Madsen, he's a guy who's a person who's like a search and destroy type of guy. Marg Helgenberger, she's a biologist, and Forrest Whitaker, he's a psychic. He can he's kind of like a telepath. He can see he can see stuff. And the cast of World War War was really good. You got this whole team of good, solid actors. And by this time, Michelle Williams, Syl, is in the train. She gets like a room, like a little compartment. Starts eating stuff, and she has like having weird nightmares, and her face starts like bubbling up, and it's a good looking effect. And then she forms a cocoon around herself, and then this female conductor goes in, sees it, and then it grabs her, kills her. And by the time the train gets at the station, Syl's fully grown, and you get introduced to Natasha Henstridge. And she also she wants to know what she is as well, and like she's walking. She's wearing the conductor's uniform to not be suspicious. And like she wondered, like she took the person's money as well. So she goes to this going shopping and all this, and she buys herself like a wedding dress, and like she doesn't know how to count money. So she goes to the store to buy a wedding dress, and and the person's asking, you're foreign, or don't speak, you're like not from this country or whatever. It's like, yes. And just like giving her all this money to pay for the dress, and she's like, I think you need this much money, all this will do. And she's like going shopping, she has bags with her. Then she goes and rents a motel room. And of course you get all good looking shots, with the Natasha Henstridge nude and all that. And while it's going on, you have the whole team that's just they're on this way to chase her and to catch her, and they look at the train, they see the cocoon and the dead body of the woman, and then with Natasha Henstridge, she goes to ask the clerk, it's like, where do I find a man? And he points out there's this club over here. And so she goes to this club and sees this one guy, and there's this woman kind of brushes her off in a sort of way, and like a good nice scene where the woman goes to the bathroom. She sits in one of the stalls, and out of how the way the camera is panning, it's a good shot, and all of a sudden Natasha Henstridge, her arm comes out behind her from the wall, in the alien form. You see that her arm is like the alien form. Goes and just grabs the woman and rips out her spine. And it was like, oh, rips out her spine. And you see the aftermath when the team gets there. You see her spine is sticking out, like she broke the spine and ripped it out of her body. It's just sticking out like that. And a nice brutal effect, and it's a good looking effect as well. It's like, ooh, bloody, brutal. It's a good looking effect. I like how the way it's made. The spine is bloodied and it's sticking outside the back, broken. Good looking effect, gore effect. And there's this one guy, so he takes that one guy home to his place, and in a way that, of course, that she wants to know, because the whole thing she wants to, sell what she wants to mate and to give birth to a child, a new species. That's what it is, species. But this guy, he's kind of like takes some drugs and doesn't sit with Syl, and then she like wanted to like kiss him, sticks her tongue through the guy's mouth and goes out the back of his head. It's like, oh, that's like bad way to kiss. That's not a good kiss at all. It just goes, sticks the tongue, rolls right through the back of the guy's head. And the team is just keep on going, chasing after her still. And one thing to know where she gets hit by a car, and this one guy takes her to the hospital, and she's perfectly fine, and so takes her to his place as well. And but this time where they think that she is going to do it this time, but the team, of course, they interrupt her. They know that they're really close. So this is where you get this scene, kind of like a that scene right there. I don't think you can see it well though, but that scene there where she goes into her alien form, which is good, good looking effects of whether it's like a whole suit and everything. Like close up though, how she's in her alien form, and it's kind of like weird of speaking less like her boobs, have like these tentacles, goes around or drags the guy underwater and chokes him and into the guy's mouth. That's kind of like it's kind of weird to me saying though, but just if you watch the film, you can see that okay, that's kind of weird looking though, but still, tentacles choking the guy and going in the guy's mouth, But it is kind of weird, but at the same time messed up though. But so she gets out of there and saying that why didn't she do the same thing with the other guy? And he's like, we interrupted her. And he's like, well, why is there some semen in the water? And he's like, maybe she took a whiff. And Michael Madsen, throughout the whole film, he's just having some fun lines of dialogue as well, and really good job. And he's also like the type of guy who's also they said they miss that he hasn't get much playing the hero in films, which is kind of nice to see because I would agree with her because you don't see him much playing heroes in films. So I guess he was kind of like happy for that. And the one, at least another that Syl, she kidnaps this woman. He cuts her finger off, but it grows back instantly. And he cuts the other girl's finger off. And when she gets chased by the team, they're in pursuit of her. She makes it seem like wants to fake her death by having the woman tied up, where it goes down a hill, runs into this generator, blows up. So the team thinks that she died in the crash, but she didn't. She faked it. So that's why she cut her thumb, saying, "Oh, here's her thumb." That had to been her that died in the crash. And even I think even Forrest Whitaker and even Michael Madsen think that was kind of like too easy. So this didn't seem quite right. So And then Natasha Henstridge, does like a change of colored hair, change of different colored hair and all that. And while the team goes to the hotel, drinking, all that, um, Natasha Hendricks gets Alfred Molina into his room, have sex, and then while at the same time where Forrest Whitaker, he's kind of like been drinking too though, but he still has the psychic senses that tells Michael Madsen and Marg Helgenberger that she's in there with what's Alfred Molina's character uh forget what forget. I forget what the Alfred Molina's character, but he's like, she's in there with him. And then after that, Natasha Hendricks, she goes that she's been impregnated, kills Alfred Molina. And also like when Michael Madsen, he's about to burst, he's about to burst through the door. Syl in her alien form bursts out through the wall. So at the same time, as soon as he goes through the door, she bursts out through the wall. And it's a good looking shot as well. And the whole thing leads down into the sewers. And I like the setting of the sewers. It's a good setting. Good setting, the damn creepiness of the sewers. And while they're down there, Ben Kingsley, he gets killed, and they find him in the water. It's like his mouth got messed up a bit, like weirdly. Still gives birth to this child, which looks like an ordinary human baby child, but then that kid eats a rat, and Forrest Whitaker tries to get Syl. Now, I will have to say though, while the practical effects throughout this movie is really well done, because there was a scene earlier where Michael Madsen and Marg Helgenberger they have to get a piece of the from the train earlier, and to get into this they're in this containment room, and the thing gets getting bigger and bigger, and it's good, well done effects as well, because they trying to get out there, but Ben Kingsley, he was not letting them get out. Then Michael Madsen had to make a little flamethrower to burn it, and when they get out there, they burn it all together. And the effects are really well done as well. I forgot to mention that scene as well. So yeah, for the most part, yeah, the practical effects well done by H.R. Giger. But during like the last scene, the finale, there's the CG of Syl, which is not all that great. I could say that is kind of like bad CGI. I can pretty much say. It's clear as day. It's kind of like bad CGI. Even if this is 1995, there are some certain CGIs that work, but in this case, with the CGI version of Syl, it didn't look all that good. But for the for the practical effects, this movie is really well done. I commend on that. And he kind of like almost like fall in, but he's holding on. And Michael Madsen, he's trying to get choked by the booby tentacles, but he cuts a part of it off, and gets like this like a grenade launcher. I think it's like a grenade launcher, and he says, get away. What was it? Let go, you motherfucker. I mean, and they try. I think they trying to. They was supposed to like say, get away, you. Like, get off, you bitch, because I think they altered it, the dialogue, because the thing is may be like aliens. The Sigourney Weaver's famous line, "Get away from her, you bitch." Yeah, I kind of see that though, but I'm glad I'm perfectly fine with what Michael Madsen said. Blows her head up and just falls down into the abyss. And Marg Helgenberger, Michael Madsen, and Forrest Whitaker, they all get out of there happy. But because they even killed the child as well, so. But it ends with this one rat that ate a little bit of the cut off piece of tentacle, and it attacks and eats another rat, and then the film cuts. So Species, I think it's a really type of classic sci-fi horror from the '90s. Different when it was different kind when it was made. For the whole premise of an alien being bred and needs to mate and all that. And I think it was a well-made film, and the cast all really did a solid job. Well directed by Rodger Donaldson. The effects, practical effects, top notch from H.R. Giger. I know that the effects in the aliens were some people say considered his best work, but it's another underappreciated effects from this film from the guy. And I know he's now passed on. May he rest in peace. But the effects of the practical effects, especially on Syl and all the other stuff as well, some of the gore and well done effects. And the score I thought was a pretty decent score. It's not horrible. It's very well made, and it's a very well paced film, like I said. And the cast, like I said, really good job. I enjoy Michael Madsen. He has some really funny dialogue, and he got to be an action hero, which I like to see. And I know one thing though. I think it was like this scene right there. Because I know there was one scene. Because I know this has the trailer, and of course I saw the trailer, seen the trailer on YouTube though. But still, there was kind of a scene I thought that was like cut out of it though. Maybe they didn't want that in the movie though, where he has like a shotgun and how like shooting Syl and that's part in the finale. Well, that happens a lot. That happens a lot in trailers. There are stuff like it's in the trailer, but it's not in the actual movie. Maybe they just didn't want it in the movie. I don't know. So, but like I said, the cast did a really good job. I enjoy Michael Madsen. He has a funny dialogue he has, and glad he was play the action hero. And Marg Helgenberger was good. Alfred Molina, same too. I like Ben Kingsley, even though this police sport. So he's like the type of guy who plays like the dickhead guy who's always in charge of the stuff, and we need her alive and all that, though, or killer. But this they want to track her down and kill her. But he seems like the type of guy in certain sci-fi films, like the guy who was in charge of this whole thing always seems like a douchebag and all that. But I don't think he overall was though. But he seemed like the type of guy. And Forrest Whitaker, I enjoy. I like how his character, he was like the psychic, and he can senses all this stuff. He even like senses her the Syl's feelings and all that. And but mainly Natasha Henstridge for her first film, solid job. And I thought she portrayed the character well. And now, as I'm going to review the next two sequels, Species 2 and 3, which now I have not seen the fourth one, and I don't want to see. I think that's just 3 is enough. I don't care. No care. What was it? The Awakening. Yeah, Species the Awakening from what year was it? 2007. I have no intended to see that film. Never. I've only seen up to 3, and 3 is enough. They didn't need to carry on anymore. So that's what I'm going to review. I'm not going to review the fourth one with The Awakening. I'll just stick with the Species 2 and 3. But the first one was still the best, by far, miles far, the best of the bunch. And I think it's an enjoyable film. It was a great cast, effects, score. I don't think that there's not much. Well, there is a nitpick. Like I said, the bad CGI, especially man at the end, the whole version of Syl. That was bad CG. I think there was even one where, when Syl was the young girl on the train, and like when she's like, when her face is popping up, bubbling. Then there was even tentacles that were coming out, and I also say that was yeah, that was CG. I think it was, yeah. That was also not all that well as either. But the main nitpick I was getting at is at the finale, the CG of Syl, that was not all that great. But that's one nitpick though, so it doesn't kill the movie at least because I really do enjoy Species. And like I said, the ending I mainly remember because when I saw that, when I first heard of this film, I only saw was the ending. Until then, I never saw the whole film through, so I had to years later I had to find what film was that and what ending went with what film. But yeah, because that was the only thing. Because that was the only thing I remember was the ending of that and the rat eating another rat. But now I know years after that I first saw that ending. Now I know, but I still enjoy Species. It's a good film. And Natasha Henstridge, the highlight of the film, I would pretty much say it is Natasha Henstridge, I would say. First film, well done. A lot of people probably just goes, oh, it's just nice to see her new in that. That's what people say though. But I still enjoy it, so well done effects. Good solid job from the whole cast. Now getting to the sequels. Species 2. Not a fan of, which I know it flopped. But then the third one went to directed video. And I know that Natasha Hendricks only has a cameo in the beginning of it, though. But the first one's the best. The sequels, not all that great. Even though we got through the main cast members, we got Natasha Henstridge, Marg Helgenberger, and Michael Madsen from the sequel, though, the second one, though. But those I'm not looking forward to. But if I'm going to review the franchise, the first film, I have to review the sequels. And I know I've said before, one more thing. I know I've reviewed first films in the past, a few months ago. I reviewed the first films of a franchise. I will get to those sequels as well, though. Like the Die Hard franchise. I only reviewed the first one because it was done at Christmas time. But I said I'll get to the sequels some other time. Till the time was right. But yeah, thumbs up for Species. If anyone has not seen the film, I highly suggest you check it out. But anyway, that's my review for Species. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I would say Species classic. I would say, in my book. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next movie review. Oh, stay on the next movie review, which is Species 2. Later.